All right, now we just gotta wait for 20 seconds while the intro.
A little intro music.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blown to Bits, the podcast where we talk about all things nerdy. Today, we actually have two special guests. It's the episode of Brothers.
Hey, brothers.
Yeah.
Yay.
We've got my brother, Jonathan.
Here I am. I'm Jonathan.
Not using the mic like I told him to.
You know, I'm a newbie.
And we got Charlie's brother.
Hey, I'm Alex.
Yep.
Thanks for having me.
As far as like the video, I'm sorry if people's heads are in the ways and stuff.
Nobody needs to see my face anyways.
It's kind of cramped in here. Can you see? Can it see you?
Don't look at me.
I'll chill over here. Nate, where's your brother?
He just got back from New York. I think he's in Johnson City. I didn't know we were doing the brother thing, so I would have brought him. Looks a lot less like me than your brother.
Yeah. We decided that Jonathan and Nate are more brothers.
Yeah,
It may actually confuse people which camera they're looking at. How is he on both sides of the table?
It's like flip to both, like real quick.
I even have a sweater like that. I should have worn it.
Oh.
So this is the Star Wars episode, actually. So spoilers. We're going to be talking about the Rise of Skywalker, and we're going to be talking about the season finale of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen either of those, click off because, I mean, it's...
Yeah, go watch them and then come back.
Yeah, it's all spoilers.
We'll wait.
It's worth a watch.
There we wait.
All right.
Man.
You done?
Well, I mean, we haven't had a podcast in like 3 weeks. So
I know.
Like, we have like a couple of episodes of Mandalorian to catch up on.
We took a little break for Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I did see a kid at my work that was gifted a real actual size crocheted baby Yoda, or the child, I should say, because somebody got derided for calling it baby Yoda.
I guess now we can call it the Foundling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a foundling.
I've seen a lot of those crocheted baby Yodas on Instagram.
Oh, yeah?
I bet Etsy is just
Oh, God.
full of
Oh,
them.
yeah, they're blown up.
Like life size or just like miniature versions?
I've seen a
Like-
couple that are miniature, but
Okay. Most are life size?
yeah, I don't think any that are life size.
Okay.
I saw a pretty good meme, and it was like Adam Driver like yelling, and then Baby Yoda or the child on the other side, and he's like, "I am Supreme Leader now," and then the child was like, "I am Star Wars now."
Yeah, straight up.
Took over.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. So what did everybody think of the movie?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
What did you like about it?
What did I like about it? I think it gave us everything that we wanted, really, like as fans. Me, everything that I wanted as a fan. I wasn't a big fan of The Last Jedi. I feel like Rise of Skywalker almost kind of retconned that movie. I think you could watch Force Awakens, even with Snoke in it, and the way they built Palpatine up, it could just be like, yeah, Snoke doesn't even matter because I was manipulating him the whole time.
Yeah. I felt like there was little pieces all throughout the movie that was a middle finger to Rian Johnson.
Oh, yeah, big time. One of my favorite parts of that was this is not how you treat a lightsaber or something like that.
Yeah.
When Luke caught it, I was like, thanks, man.
I'm gonna be your foil.
Oh, yeah.
Episode.
Well, I know Charlie liked Last
was-
Jedi.
Alex
too.
did not
That was
like
my
it.
least favorite part of the movie.
Really?
It's just like, hey, remember all the things I learned. It's like, actually, no. Now
Yeah.
that I'm dead. fuck you, Rian Johnson.
Well, even like little things, like my dad pointed out, like the hyperspace skipping.
Yeah.
Was like basically disproved the ship using light speed to like destroy the Star Destroyer. Because by light speed jumping, he was basically going through different like solid objects, which kind of disproved the whole
Or
thing.
he was just extremely lucky. Alternatively,
That's a possibility, too. Like,
just
Was
roll
he-
the dice and
Was
hope
he
he didn't hit
forced
anything.
light speed jumping? Is that a thing? I don't know.
I don't
think
know.
so. It was Poe doing it,
It was
right?
Poe doing
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
I mean, Poe's probably like a little. I mean,
I think
Force
Poe,
Awakens, like the Force Awakened in like across like the universe, like in the very. That's
I think
what
Poe
how
was
I got
more
it.
like Wedge Antilles, though. That was kind of his character. Finn was definitely
Force sensitive.
They pretty much said that.
They were setting
Speaking
that up.
of, I'm so mad. We never found out what Finn was trying to tell Rey.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right?
It's like, come on, what was it?
You
It's
know,
probably "I love you," right? I mean,
No, I think he was trying to tell her that he was, Force sensitive.
oh,
I
okay.
I think that was the same thing. Yeah.
It's like, hey, Ray, I think I can use the Force too.
I'm like you.
It's like, can you
When you
help?
say that, like while you're dying, it's just like, okay.
I don't know.
Oh, by the way, I'm Force sensitive.
Force sensitive.
That's a whole lot easier.
It's like, can you give me a lesson real quick in the Force
Yeah.
before I die? It's like, what point does that say?
Dude, my favorite part was Palpatine shooting that lightning up. That was crazy.
There are a lot of really cool moments, a lot of really cool shots, and a lot of really cool like scenes that happened in this movie that were like very powerful. Like the sound design was wonderful. Like I saw it in Big D
Yeah.
with like those big old fucking subwoofers.
Yeah,
and, like,
that's where we
I
went.
felt everything,
especially
which
that
is awesome.
scene. That scene's not
Yeah.
going to be the same at home. It
I
was-
mean,
No
when
doubt.
that lightning goes up,
No
it's
doubt.
like,
Yeah.
Mm.
There was
Yeah.
moments
Bass
when,
drop.
when the lightsaber would swing and the bass just kind of hit you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, same
Yeah.
with like the Star Killer base, like in the previous movie was like that was a really cool like scene, and like the sound and the force behind that really made a bigger impact for that.
Well, I've been rewatching all through the Star Wars for the past few months with my son, starting with Episode 1 and just going chronologically through Rogue One in there because it's so awesome. I wanted to watch that in there in the
Yeah.
same order.
That's a great addition
And
to the Star Wars.
watching all of them, I think my favorite character, like the most well-designed character, is the Emperor for me. Like, I love all the different people and all the different story arcs and everything, but he is like, I think bringing him back to tie everything together was a really cool move because nobody ever felt as scary as him. And I watched like Return of the Jedi just the other day, and it was he's terrifying in that movie. Like,
No doubt.
he is like doing the exact same thing, and I think so many tie-ins to that scene where you know Darth Vader is there with Luke Skywalker, and how that all transpires is very similar to that final confrontation in this movie. I thought that was really cool how they tied all the characters and their families and everything together. But I think having the Emperor come back, because he's just such a string puller and a puppet master, and like him being like, actually it was me the whole time, actually I think like brought it back around to be like, oh, this is really scary now.
And you could even
is
tell that
scary.
was J.J. Abrams' original design for the trilogy, and even with Ryan Johnson had Ren tell Rey, your parents were nobody, and then J.J. was like, well, your parents were nobody because they chose to be.
Yeah.
Like, I think he always planned for her to be a Palpatine.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good move. And watching all the movies, like even in the prequels, you can say what you want about kind of the cheese of the prequels, but the Palpatine character is awesome. I mean, his like little wedges that he puts between people, the little things he delays, like he just is having all the pieces in front of him and just the chessboard that he's moving. I love that in a villain.
Well, I
'Cause,
think-
like the
political.
Joker was a really great villain that did the same thing.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to play you against you and you against you, and then everybody's just fighting each other and he wins at the end, and I thought that was excellent.
The Emperor we see in these new movies are actually the way that the Sith are originally supposed to be.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be hidden from the shadows and, basically move events around. The same as with the prequels. I think the original movies, when he was the Emperor and out in the open and everything, that was his big mistake, was not staying in the shadows.
Oh.
And so I think he learned from that and went back to the shadows, and I mean, he almost won again. Except those pesky little rebels.
It was Jedi.
Yeah.
Find
Those
a way.
damn horse aliens.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Endor, like, you guys are the champions. First you had the Ewoks in Return of
Yeah.
the Jedi that just, like, trounced this Imperial, like, blockade. And then, like, you have, like, a troop lander with horses land on a Star Destroyer
I saw
to
that
take them out.
I saw that in the trailer, and I kind of just rolled my eyes a little bit, and I still rolled
did
my
too.
eyes in the theaters. It
Yeah.
was like, they're not on speeders. Here we go.
and like Finn's love interest, or like the new kind of potential love interest with that other, like, you know,
Janna, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah,
The other stormtrooper.
yeah, that seemed a little redundant for me.
I heard that originally, like, they planned for Poe and Finn to be together. Well, I don't know what happened with that.
A little smooching
Mm-hmm.
in the Millennium Falcon.
A little smooching. Woo.
I think in my opinion, the weakest part of the new movie I was thinking about conversation after the movie yesterday, and I think Star Destroyers are my least favorite part of Star Wars because they go down so easily. They show up, they're these huge intimidating force, and then it's like they have this one weak part, they have this one antenna to destroy. Oh, this one turret can shoot a few shots. The whole thing goes up in flames, and that to me was like that was the point where they lost me a little bit with like what I wanted to see in a really cool final scene was
There's actually a term for that. It's called glass cannon.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard of this term.
Yeah, a glass cannon is basically a big gun that is made of glass.
Gotcha.
So
Star Destroyers for me are like the weak point. If they were involved, because even in previous movies, it's been really similar. Where like, oh, the whole thing's disabled because we knocked out this one part of it, so now we can just push it into the other one, and resulted in amazing special effects. But I'm not scared when they show up. They show up and I'm like, well, they'll probably be able to pull out. Like, for some reason, they can get in and off of those things really easily, and just a lot of things where you're like, these are the battleships of the Empire.
Believability of all of it.
And that to me was like, I think my one major complaint. Everything else in the movie I really liked, but just like the villains not being scary enough. Even the Knights of Ren, same thing, where I wanted them to be like a bit more scary, but at the end of the day, one lightsaber and they were kind of done. And they kind of like were around for the movie, and then they just didn't have time to give them their moment.
Yeah.
I think because they were skipped over in the last movie, that they didn't have the proper plot development that was planned for them.
It would have been nice to have them in episode 8.
It would be very cool to have something like that show up in the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool to have some knights.
Right.
I love Chewie getting the medal.
Yeah.
Got a little misty on that one.
They did a really good job with Princess Leia, considering that Carrie Fisher wasn't alive and they didn't really use any CGI.
Yeah, that's another thing that would have been really cool in episode 8 is if we got more of that Luke training Leia story.
Yeah, Leia training Rey was like, what are you doing? You're just watching.
Why?
Yeah.
Just watching.
Good job.
Good job.
Yeah, you know what? We'll try again tomorrow. That's all right.
And at the end of the day, I was just thinking about, and I've read all these different reviews and different things, thinking about the movie and like what legacy these movies have had. And at the end of the day, it's like it's pretty hard to tie up 9 movies. Like that's a big
Over
task.
how many years? 40.
Yeah. And then the fan base is so huge and pretty demanding, and like, you know, I think it was really well done, and there's so many extra little parts of Star Wars that people have come to really love, like the Knights of Ren or the training here, and like these little segments that everybody wants more. It's like you can never satisfy.
There's probably someone out there that's going to watch this and be like, screw you, I love Star Destroyers. They're the greatest thing about Star Wars.
And there's probably some physics I don't understand of why all this is possible.
They're pretty tough. And
the biggest
Star Wars
plot hole I saw
Armada
was
board game.
how'd they staff all of those? That was
Oh, they were all the little Sith
acolytes.
It's
like
Sith
you just,
acolytes. Yeah.
yeah. The last order was like, I guess, like Palpatine
Were they dead?
had
Had they been dead for years, or were they just like
Chilling.
They just lived with the
lived
the
on
Emperor?
in the lightning cube.
Yeah.
Gosh, so many questions.
There's a lot.
I like how they all blew up at the end for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, they should have had it like explain like that either Palpatine was like cloning the whole time, like, you know, or maybe they were like all droids.
You saw the vat of Snokes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a whole vat of
Just like-
Snokes.
Well, another thing we didn't get was Matt Smith was supposed to be in the movie. He was cast to be in it, and he was apparently going to be, because I read all the leaks about this, like leading up to it. He was supposed to be the cloned new Palpatine, like Palpatine during that scene where he was kind of, this is how I did everything. was gonna bring him out, be like, I'm gonna jump in his body, basically, and then he was gonna force drain them, and then transfer his soul into Matt Smith's character, and then that was gonna be the final battle.
Matt Smith from Doctor Who.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
I
he
could
was.
see
He
that.
was.
He's got those
cast to
sunken
be in the movie.
eyes and crazy face that would work really well.
And a lot of the leaks that I read were true. Like, I feel like when I went in the movie, I knew everything that was going to happen, and I was really thinking I was going to hate it, and I ended up loving it because the way it all came together.
Yeah,
You know,
I stayed off the internet. I didn't know anything.
that's how I was for Endgame, but for this one, I was so upset over Episode 8. I was like, I don't care. I just want to know how it's going to end, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
Cool. Anything else?
I thought it was going to be cliche for Kylo to turn back over to the light side and be like, "Oh, here we go again." But I ended up really liking it.
I love that. Ben
It was
Solo
still good.
was cool.
It was still good.
Why did they have to kiss? Seriously.
Yeah.
For all the Raylo fans, man.
I know. And I guess like people were so upset about the Rose kiss in The Last Jedi, and I don't think there was like a big kiss in the trilogy. And they're like, oh, I guess we should make them kiss
I guess
before
there should
they
be an
kick
important
it.
kiss or something.
Yeah.
I guess if you're a dyad in the Force, you guys gotta smooch.
Oh,
I mean, they were
platonic.
Exactly,
Just be
right?
friends.
I thought it would have been cool if she took the Solo name instead of the Skywalker name at the end.
Oh.
Yeah, but then the Rise of Skywalker name in the movie wouldn't have made
The
any
Rise of
sense.
Solo.
No, it is. It does make sense, and this is how I still argue it on Reddit: is that the Rise of Skywalker is about Ben Solo.
That's
He
what
rises up out of the
that's what I
pit.
saw.
I mean, the whole thing,
And
I
just
can
like
see
I
that.
fell, you're
and
gonna
it was his
fall,
redemption.
And
Yeah,
he fell, and then
yeah.
he comes back out.
I agree with that.
If she would have been Rey Solo, I would have been like, oh. Yeah.
I was every. Again, I'm gonna be the foil.
Do it.
Yeah,
do
do
it.
it.
We gotta have it.
Yeah.
Everyone
I'm
needs
kinda,
a villain.
I'm kind of on your
It
side
gets me
too. Like, I
so
was talking
angry.
a
I
little bit,
was I was literally just like in the theater, be like, "Don't say it. Don't you say it. What's your Ray? Who?" I'm just like, please don't.
Oh yeah.
Please don't. Just like end it with, just Ray. Doesn't matter who I was. Yeah.
Again, I feel
I
like
grow.
if I
What
had
was
it,
this random old lady hanging out in the desert?
Yeah.
yeah,
by
snooping
this-
around.
Yeah. It's like
For plot
where-
purposes.
I
Again,
guess so.
I don't know
Go
if
back
this-
in your hole.
I don't know if the Star Wars movies have ever had fantastic, well-written scripts where like there's very convenient moments where like they're flying now, they're flying, like it's not.
Yeah,
At that point, you're like, all right, it's
Right.
it's
No
what I'm
Oscar
watching more
worthy.
than what I'm hearing,
I think if I hadn't read the leaks, because that was part of the leak, was like,
Oh, shit.
this is the ending, and this is complete shit. Everyone was upset about it, and I agreed. I was like, she's not gonna say that. Come on. And she did, and I think because I knew it going into it, I just kind of rolled my eyes. But if I hadn't known, I'd been just like you. I'd have been like, arms crossed, pouting my ass off about it.
Yeah, you might have a different opinion if you didn't read all those spoilers.
I know.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Oh, man,
Because
because
he just didn't care.
I just
He just didn't
That's
care.
fair.
Episode 8 just.
I didn't read any
jaded him
spoilers
and
about the
made him super
Mandalorian the whole
salty.
time.
Yeah.
You do?
No, I haven't read
okay.
any spoilers about the Mandalorian.
I don't think there are any.
There haven't been, really.
Yeah, they've been keeping it under wraps.
No one left their script laying out. You know that's how it happened, right? Because
Well,
John
you-
Boyega left his script like hanging out, and his like cleaning lady
Stole it.
found it, and it got leaked. That's
Aw.
how the whole plot got leaked.
Man.
Thanks, Finn. 2187.
My dad does not like his
Go
character.
back to sanitation.
Sanitation. Oh man,
He said he just gets on his nerves.
I wish he would have died in episode 8 because, and this is why. Because that was his whole arc leading up to that point, is that because he ran away from, being a stormtrooper, and he was always running away, and he was finally going to face fear and do the right thing and be a hero, and Rose took that away from him, and I will never forgive her for that.
Also,
the Warriors.
Ryan
death.
Johnson doesn't know how lightsabers work.
What do you mean? They
Well,
slice through things.
yeah, but
Not Beskar steel.
they slice through things, but apparently not humans. Because, I mean, Ren ended up with a tiny little scar.
Could have been just the very tip.
Finn,
Just
Finn
a
got
love patch.
Finn got cut up the back, and he was on his feet the next day, running around in his little bubble suit. I mean, come on.
Those
Rian
back to
Johnson.
tanks, they got a lot
Apparently.
better. They got a lot better since Empire Strikes Back.
It's a might be a good segue in Mandalorian.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of,
Yeah.
Speaking of back
we
to
saw his
spray,
face.
Saw his face. He just looks just like he normally
Yeah.
does. There's no eyeball missing or scars or anything.
I know you. Last time we saw him, his head was crushed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
GOT. Yeah.
Game of Thrones. He was in Game of Thrones.
You're
Yeah.
gonna lose me again.
Okay,
with
okay.
references.
That's
His-
okay.
That's who
His
it is.
character-
Yeah, Pedro Pascal.
Okay.
His character in Game of Thrones got his head squeezed.
Got the
Fist-
monster
fist
by the
of the North
mountain
Star.
Well,
Yeah.
no wonder he doesn't want to take his helmet off.
Yeah. It's the same actor.
You get your head smashed, you don't want to take a helmet off after that.
But dude,
You're
this
going to want a helmet.
this
A
was
stronger
by
helmet.
far my favorite episode because of the beginning. Those two stormtroopers and their banter
Yeah, that was pretty good.
was just, I mean, it's everything that people say about stormtroopers rolled into one scene. I loved it.
Like how they managed to add some character with just the hand motions
Yes.
as well. It's a good touch.
Yeah,
I
it
like
was
how
really
he like
cool.
checks his gun, he's like rattling it.
The first time we've really heard banter between stormtroopers, they've been pretty voiceless, which is
Right.
fair. I mean, you don't want to give them a major scene or anything, but having a little spin-off, you can actually have them talk to each other, and it's pretty hilarious.
I mean, they're people too.
Right, but do we really want to be, like, super sympathetic to, like, stormtroopers?
No, that's why you make them fucking
Yeah.
doofs.
Like,
Yeah.
I'd like it would be really cool to like see like a series like kind of like an office
Office.
style thing with stormtroopers, but you don't want to make them good people because they're all Imperials.
They're space Nazis.
and you see them like being shot all the damn time. So like make them somewhat bigots.
Space
but-
Nazis is a very appropriate term. It's true.
I'd be interested what the body count was of stormtroopers in episode 8 of the Mandalorian. So
I
many.
don't know.
I'd like to see the body count of stormtroopers over the entire 9 episodes.
That would be interesting.
But during the movie, when Finn and Poe and I think it was Chewie as well, were just running down the hallway and just,
Yeah.
I mean, just perfect shot
Yeah,
every
just
single
waxing
time.
everyone.
All I could think about was those two stormtroopers on their speeder bikes shooting, trying to hit that little plant.
Like not moving object.
At first, I thought it was Baby Yoda, like force tricking them. I'm like, no, they're just that terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope we see more of that one lady Mandalorian because I guess
She was awesome too. She just killed the shit out of those
Oh, yeah.
stormtroopers.
fucking
Broke the one's
hammer.
mask. I was
Yeah.
like, that's awesome.
So are all the other Mandalorians dead? Or she said like some escaped, but
Yeah, I think some of them made it out. Like,
Yeah.
off world.
Well, I mean, all those helmets, like you could
That
either
was a
think that
lot.
they were dead or they just gave them up to like
they can't. They can't take their helmet off.
if they want to renounce their creed or if they want to survive and escape, maybe
I mean, he wasn't even willing to take his helmet off to survive.
to die and everything.
Yeah, he was gonna die before he took
But
it
that
off.
was like a mass like exposure whenever they came out and like laid lace to that. And Mandalorians aren't supposed to be like exposed like that. So either they did like die in the
Or they're as
battle,
good as dead.
or they're as good as dead. Right.
I
so.
think like 90% of them got hunted down, and then the rest kind of scattered.
Which you have to wonder which stormtroopers were doing that. Because they didn't seem
Yeah.
very competent in most of these fights. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, they came in and took
Yeah.
out an entire squadron
Well,
of Mandalorians.
Yeah, the black stormtroopers. I mean, they got a few really good hits in on the Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
They get a new set of armor when they get like one confirmed kill.
This target they actually hit things in target
You
practice.
hit one, all right. You get to go
Do
work
you
for
like
the Emperor.
Flamethrowers.
Upgrade
We'll
this.
put some red marks on yours. There you go, pal.
So with the black saber at the end, are you familiar with that from
Yeah,
Rebels?
Yeah, not from.
It's called the Dark Saber, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
I thought it was from not Rebels,
Clone
but
Wars?
Clone Wars.
That's right. It was from Clone Wars.
Well, there's
the
been
last person that had it was Sabine Wren, and she gave it over to another Mandalorian.
Okay.
And if you hold that, you are the leader of the Mandalorians.
I didn't know that.
So I'm wondering if, and because they're so loyal to that creed, I'm wondering if that's going to be a story arc in season 2, is that Gideon, because he has that, he is in charge of the Mandalorians.
I could
And
definitely
he could
see.
turn the Mandalorians on Mando.
Yeah. I don't know. That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy.
I have a feeling that sword's going to end up in the Mandalorian's hands, though.
Oh, yeah.
By the end of season 2.
No, it's gonna be
And
in
the
Baby
jetpack.
Yoda's hands.
yeah, baby
That
Yoda's
would
gonna
be
wield that
the
dark
ultimate
saber.
That would be
crossover.
insane. That would be so cool. I can't wait to see a future Yoda grown up wearing that Mandalorian pendant.
Oh yeah, like it is.
In a
It is a
helmet.
foundling
Yeah, in a
now,
helmet.
but like the Mando's intent is to bring that back to its own kind, like the child back to its own kind. But is there another of its kind out there? And if
They
it,
make babies.
I mean,
So-
they said it wasn't a product of
no
engineering.
cloning and everything, but it's been 50 years since that thing is. I don't know. Maybe even with its parents.
I also love the scene where you got the jetpacking. You got Mando as a child, then looking down, and then at the end you got
That
Baby
was-
Yoda
yeah.
looking down. That was so cool.
Yeah, I saw that on your
That was a
your
great
Instagram
Instagram
story.
Yeah. That was well done.
All right, we got time for final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Just be happy with what's released and what's out there. Just
Yeah.
appreciate stuff, and you can be sour about a lot of things. And I still am.
I for one am happy with the entire Skywalker story. I think all 3 trilogies were different in their own unique ways. Other than Rian Johnson and Jar Jar Binks, it's been a pretty good ride.
Yeah.
I think J.J. Abrams had a lot on his hands, and he basically made mouth sounds while he smashed action figures together. And yeah, and then they're gonna go fly, and they find this coin. Whoa, cool coin. And there's 2 lightsabers. So that's my takeaway on it, and I think Rian Johnson got shafted hard.
yeah,
I agree. Which and I will admit I am a Rian Johnson fanboy, so of course I'm gonna like The Last Jedi. But
I think just to be the foil to the action figure thing, I really enjoyed. I was thinking about it after the movie. In the moment, I wasn't so much. It was just like, oh, that was awesome to look at. But after the movie, thinking about it, I thought that the way they tied together, these are the generations of the Sith, the generations of the Jedi. This is the dyad and the Force. These are the 2 lightsabers. This is Luke and Leia, and like having both lightsabers there, and their children, and Palpatine's children, and like they like brought all that together into one moment. And there was a lot of symbolism, a lot of like callbacks to all these different parts of the movies, and I thought that scene with that confrontation was, worth the whole movie to me. And there is a lot more there. I think it's one of those you could watch multiple times and you could catch more allusions to all these different things, and like just how just how I felt you're gonna fall, and like Anakin's child kind of in a way goes down, and just all of those really, really cool tie-ins. I think that the artistry of that movie showed up in that scene. And the other things, I completely agree. It was like, oh yeah, let's just throw them. This is gonna be so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
But that scene, I thought, had a really cool artistry.
right.
My favorite part of the entire movie was when Han
All right, and that's
came
all the
back.
time we got.
Man,
You better hurry.
when Han came back and was talking to Ben, and Ben said, "Dad," and he said, "I know," because he was going to say, "I love you." That was the best part of the movie, hands down.
That was good.
All right.
All right, bye. Love you all.